Hi, I'm back again. I keep thinking about us, we the people, and the shortcomings that are presented in our lives. I was thinking about the bombing that's going on, that's taking place in this war, I suppose, that is operating here close at home, U.S., Israel, and Iran. And I'm thinking about the damage that has been imposed on Iranians. I'm thinking about what they are being driven to do is to cause damage on neighboring bases that represent some association with those who started the war. And in any event, they're losers. Who can win? Who, after having gone through this, becomes a winner? And what does it mean to become a winner? Does it mean that since you, for some reason or another, have prevailed, now it is giving you a license to exploit others as you see fit to accommodate your uh, idiosyncrasies? I mean, have you given it any thought? It reminds me, ladies and gentlemen, that we always need to check ourselves because it's just that necessary. And the thing that moves me and has me constant about talking about God is because I know God's way. See, I was watching the Democrats, they were talking about funding, and the Republicans about ICE or TSAs. And one said we want to fund one group, and the other one want to fund a different group. And it's all about people. Some saying that having a police patrol that is above the law, ICE, is very important. And some saying it's not more important than TSA getting paid because the ICE agents are being paid. Then you say, well, that's what I'm saying. Special privileges for that which represents evil to some and maybe a honey spot to others. But at the same time, it's a divided community. It's not working, which is, again, the evidence that whoever's trying to fix this thing don't know what the hell they are doing. And we, the people, sitting back on our loins, doing whatever we're doing, but allowing and permitting this chaos to continue every day, which says, as it is being suggested, that human beings are dumb, stupid, ignorant fools. Absent the wisdom of the Creator, absent the wisdom of that spirit being inside of you to direct you in your life, just like the oxygen that you breathe, it does something for you. Just like the blood that flows through your veins, it does something for you. And all them other things operating as they were designed to do. It does something for you. Now, what about life? Creator, you, the people, you deserve life when you are engaging yourself in life, not destruction of life. No, my friend. You see, it requires something very special. It really does. And it's just the easy stuff that we sometimes think is so complicated. But I would just say there was a time when we didn't have computers, and then they were. Planes didn't, then there were. Trains, cars, spaceships didn't, and here they are. It amazes us that we can do AI. AI. AI, right now, most of the people are just experiencing these little simple things, like open the door, what does get up mean, stuff like that. But it does that, and we all, in our farthest imagination or our nearest, give constant thought of these guys deciding to be like their creators. Their creators warmongers, haters, bigots, profit oriented. And if you're going to create something, that character is going to be exhibited in it some way, some you can't hide it. You cannot hide it. In your structure, you have made it possible for those AI to do to you one of the most evil things that could ever be done to you. And you don't even know it. Well, if you can do that, it appears to me that you, with all these great minds and all that kind of stuff, could do some simple stuff. The simple stuff is establish, create a system that does what we, the people, determine exactly what we want done. And that is that our needs, wants, and desires are met. Look like we should be able to create a system that affirms that those things that are essentially necessary for survival and otherwise, such as food, clothing, shelter, education, healthcare, some of those other things I just mentioned. What if you could create a system that can assure that no one ever be left out in regards to these essentials? Why don't we create a system that says that life, not just a dream, but something that we could actually live, a system that would assure us peace and prosperity? Why can't we create a system that assures us freedom, joy, and happiness? Why can't we create a system? We create AI and all the other things. Why can't we create a system? Well, it appears to me that in other references, we had motivation. The motivation was profit. The motivation was money. The motivation was superiority. But we start talking about a system that does everything for everybody. That doesn't talk about or give any credit to money at all. And so, since it doesn't, you don't get a chance to hear about it because it represents a system that frees you from all of the burdens of today's system. A system such as that. Why can't you create a system? Why can't the people want that? And why those just like the ones sit around and create an AI and now they sit around and think, how do we get the system? Well, it's very simple. You put everybody to work. Everybody on this earth, he on this earth, taken from this earth, got to, because they're here, have brought something and now utilize what it is that you brought. And you can determine what that is by what you, amongst the things that requires to be done. You recognize them and can choose one that you love, that you can put your love in. That's what I'm talking about. Out of all of us engaged in the process of causing a manifestation of, and our work hours are shortened. We don't have to work crazily, but we don't call it work. We call it joy and happiness because that's what we're living for every day, joy and happiness. And there's nothing that can bring more joy and happiness than bringing peace and satisfaction and love and joy to everybody on earth. You can't beat that. And see, that's what I'm asking. Why can't we create a system that can promote that? Why can't we create a system that says, okay, now we determine how to achieve this, which is basically everybody contributing in the process of causing a manifestation of, and we can't miss it. And after we set it up, then we just create the system based upon what we're looking at, look based upon the system as what we see working, and establish that as our system. Well, we shouldn't be too hard because we know that the system that we have been living under have failed us. Oh, it has always worked for some, but as a people, as human beings, it has failed us. And anybody that's smart enough and wise enough to know that, who claims that they are not dumb, who claims that they are not stupid, who claims that they are not ignorant, who claims that they are not fools, can see this. And knowing this, you would have the receipts because you would do it. You'd see it through. It won't just be a thought. It is something that now you have awakened to, and you are all of that. You can handle it. And now, understanding that you're not just working for you, you're not just trying to see that you don't have any heartaches and pain. You know that you're not having heartaches and pains is based upon the fact that others don't have heartaches and pain. And none of you have heartaches and pains, but what are you doing? Because you're looking after one another. You're making sure that nothing is allowed that would cause pain and suffering on any one of us. That's what we're doing. That's what we're putting together in the system that's supposed to make us feel as if we're in heaven, though we're in the flesh sitting on earth here and there, waiting, just enjoying life until it takes us to another place. We've been through enough hell, ladies and gentlemen. We've been killing and dying and suffering ever since the man has been existing on this earth, I believe. I know if it hasn't been since the beginning, it's definitely been for quite some time. And what about the things that we're just talking about here? Why is it denied? Why are we the people who're supposed to have all the power? Why is it that we have allowed the things to happen as they happen? You know, I don't want to say it. That's what we were, but we are not that any longer. Amen. I'll talk to you later.